This is a sparring program similar to the programmed reality of the Matrix. It has the same basic rules like gravity. What you must learn is that these rules are no different than the rules of a computer system. Some of them can be bent, others can be broken. Is it possible that we live in a hologram that we could alter if we knew how to do it? When you observe the world around you, it seems solid and unchanging. But what if reality were not as rigid as it appears? What if you could alter reality with your mind, shorten the manifestation time of your desires, and live a life more aligned with your purpose? If this were possible, there should be evidence, accounts, and proof. Are there any? In the next few minutes, we will explore the nature of reality and psychic phenomena, focusing on the fascinating theory of the missing Dr. Jacobo Grinberg. We will uncover our crucial role in creating reality and unveil the mysteries that might lie behind what is commonly known as miracles. At the end of the video, I will share the meditation practice used by Grinberg, which could help you manifest your deepest desires and connect with the divine. I hope this information helps and contributes to your expansion of consciousness. The idea that matter and the laws of nature can be manipulated is not new. Throughout history, there have been documented cases of individuals defying the laws of physics. Many are the gifts described by various people and cultures, such as clairvoyance, telepathy, precognition, spiritual healing, or even levitation. In traditions like Hinduism, *Sidis, supernatural powers attained through spiritual practice are a recurring theme. Ancient texts like Patanjali's Yoga Sutras describe how meditation, yoga, and other spiritual disciplines can lead to extraordinary abilities like levitation, telepathy, and control over matter. One of the most famous examples of supernatural powers in Christianity, besides Jesus Christ, is Saint Joseph of Cupertino, a 17th-century Neapolitan friar, during his religious ecstasies. It's said that Saint Joseph entered a state of such deep communion with the divine that his body would levitate, remaining suspended in the air for several minutes. These episodes frequently occurred during Mass in front of astonished witnesses. His ability was so remarkable that it drew the attention of the Inquisition, which recognized him as a true mystic. Another renowned case of levitation is found in Tibetan Buddhism with Milarepa, an 11th-century yogi and poet. It is said that Milarepa, after years of intense meditation and ascetic practices, achieved a state of spiritual realization that allowed him to dematerialize his body, alter matter, and levitate. These abilities were seen as manifestations of his high level of enlightenment. But how does science approach these phenomena? This is where Jacobo Grinberg, a Mexican neurophysiologist and psychologist, comes into the picture. In 1994, at the height of his career, he mysteriously disappeared. Numerous hypotheses about his whereabouts circulate online, and an aura of mystery surrounds both his life and his disappearance. The most substantiated theories include a crime of passion and possible kidnapping by undercover CIA operatives. In Arling Arling, filmmaker Ida Kula, after 7 years of research, released a documentary exploring his disappearance. It features declassified CIA documents on telepathy experiments in which Dr. Jacobo Grinberg's name appears. I will leave a link to the documentary in the description. However, the most fascinating aspect of Grinberg is not his disappearance, but his theories on consciousness and reality. Grinberg, intrigued by the phenomenon of consciousness and deeply interested in understanding the nature of reality, believed that the human brain might hold the key to understanding the complex interactions between the mind and reality. He studied psychology at the National Autonomous University of Mexico and neurophysiology at the New York Brain Research Institute. He later earned a doctorate for his research on the electrophysiological effects of geometric stimuli on the brain. Jacobo Grinberg rose to prominence by combining his knowledge of neurophysiology with spiritual and esoteric traditions, creating a unique approach that blended science and mysticism. He was often described as a scientist among shaman and a shaman among scientists. Grinberg was particularly intrigued by shamanism, a form of spirituality based on communication with an invisible world of spirits, ancestors, and natural forces. Shamans use techniques like chanting, dancing, or consuming sacred plants to enter altered states of consciousness, which allows them to move through other dimensions or alter reality as we know it. These abilities enable them to heal diseases, influence the weather, or even predict the future. For Grinberg, the key was that, unknowingly, shamans were using their own neural fields, their individual algorithms, to interact with and modify the structure of what he called the lattice, a sort of hologram containing all the reality we perceive. We will delve deeper into this concept a bit later. Among the many shamans he studied, one stood out for her extraordinary abilities. Pachita, a humble woman with no formal medical training, was known for performing psychic surgeries in which she would materialize and dematerialize organs and tissues, seemingly defying all known laws of biology and physics. Grinberg spent years studying her, meticulously documenting her abilities. He believed she was a living example of how the mind could directly influence matter. According to Grinberg's Syntérgic Theory, reality as we perceive it is not a fixed external world. Instead, it is a complex holographic matrix of information, which he called the lattice. This lattice is a vibrational field that contains all possibilities, all information, and all potential realities. Our brains, through their own complex electrical activity, create a neural field. This neural field acts like a decoder, interacting with the lattice and choosing one possibility out of the infinite potential, thus creating our individual experience of reality. In simple terms, our brain doesn't just perceive reality, it creates it. Grinberg proposed that each of us is a creator of our own universe. However, our ability to modify reality is limited by our beliefs, our level of consciousness, and the coherence of our neural field. When our brainwaves are disorganized and chaotic, our ability to influence the lattice is weak. But when we achieve a state of high coherence through meditation, focus, or deep states of consciousness like those reached by shamans, our neural field becomes more powerful. In this state, we can interact more directly with the lattice, essentially bending or breaking the rules of conventional reality. This is what Grinberg believed was happening with shamans like Pachita. Through years of practice, she had achieved such a high level of neural coherence that she could intentionally interact with the lattice to perform what seemed like miracles. She could access the informational matrix and manifest organs from the vibrational field into physical reality. Grinberg's theory was put to the test in his famous transferred potential experiment. He took two subjects, placed them in separate Faraday cages to block all electromagnetic signals, and had them meditate together for a period. After this, one subject remained in their cage, while the other was taken to a different room and shown a series of light flashes. Astonishingly, the brain of the subject who was not being stimulated with light showed an electrical potential that was transferred from the other subject's brain. It was as if their brains were still connected, even when physically separated and electromagnetically isolated. Grinberg concluded that when two consciousnesses establish a deep connection, their neural fields become unified, creating a single, more powerful field capable of transcending space. This phenomenon, he called non-locality, provided scientific evidence for concepts like telepathy and the interconnectedness of all consciousness. So, how can we apply Grinberg's theories to our own lives? How can we increase the coherence of our neural field to manifest our desires? The key, according to Grinberg, lies in meditation and the expansion of consciousness. Here is a simplified meditation practice based on his principles. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably with your spine straight. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, releasing any tension. Now, focus your attention on the space between your eyebrows, the third eye. Imagine a sphere of light in this area. As you inhale, feel this sphere of light expanding and becoming brighter. As you exhale, feel it contract slightly, becoming more concentrated and powerful. Continue this for several minutes, allowing your mind to become calm and focused. Now, bring to mind a desire you wish to manifest. Don't just think about it. Feel it. Feel the emotion of having it already. Gratitude, joy, love. Immerse yourself in this feeling. As you hold this emotion, visualize your desire as already being a part of your reality, encoded within the holographic lattice. See your coherent neural field interacting with the lattice, pulling this possibility into your physical experience. Hold this visualization and feeling for as long as you can, without strain. When you are finished, take a moment to feel gratitude for the experience and slowly open your eyes. This practice, when done regularly, can help increase the coherence of your neural field, strengthening your ability to interact with the matrix of reality and manifest your intentions. It's about training your brain to operate from a state of unity and power. Jacobo Grinberg's work offers a bridge between science and spirituality, suggesting that the reality we experience is far more malleable than we believe. His theories invite us to see ourselves not as passive observers, but as active creators of our universe. Whether you believe in psychic powers or not, exploring these ideas can profoundly change your perspective on life and your own potential. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the mysteries of consciousness. If you found this information valuable, please give this video a thumbs up. And do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you do not miss our future explorations. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep creating your reality. Have you ever heard of a surgery performed without scalpels, anesthesia, or even opening the body? What if I told you that a woman could supposedly materialize organs out of thin air? This isn't science fiction. It's the real-life account of a scientist who witnessed the impossible and dedicated his life to explaining it. His name was Dr. Jacobo Grinberg, and his journey into the world of a spiritual healer named Pachita would challenge everything we thought we knew about reality itself. Imagine this: you're a neurophysiologist, a man of science, invited to observe a woman who performs spiritual surgeries. You're skeptical, of course. Your world is one of brain scans and measurable data. But then you see it with your own eyes. This woman, Pachita, uses a simple knife, and in minutes, she performs procedures that defy all medical logic. Dr. Grinberg described watching her treat patients with severe illnesses, like diseased lungs. He said she seemed to possess an incredible ability to perceive what was wrong inside a body and how to fix it. According to Grinberg's accounts, Pachita would perform these operations by seemingly extracting a diseased organ and then materializing a healthy replacement in her hands, placing it into the patient. All of this in a matter of minutes, without the complex procedures of modern surgery. Grinberg was stunned. His scientific mind reeled. What he was witnessing contradicted every piece of knowledge he had about reality. How could this be possible? He wasn't content to just call it a miracle. He had to understand it. Grinberg concluded that Pachita wasn't operating on our physical plane of existence. He theorized that she was functioning at a different level of consciousness, a level where reality is not yet fixed, where it's still pure potential. In this state, there was no need for the step-by-step processes we're used to. She could simply access the final, healed outcome directly. To understand this, Grinberg proposed a radical idea. He suggested that the reality we perceive, the colors, the shapes, the solid objects around us is actually the end product of a complex process. Our brain, he said, interacts with a vast pre-existing field of information to create what we experience as the world. This perceived reality isn't just a mental illusion. It becomes real. It gains existence. But it originates not as solid matter, but as a manifestation of consciousness. Pachita, Grinberg believed, could bypass our perceived reality and operate directly at the source. She was working on the blueprint of reality, not the finished building. Imagine our universe as a living, breathing hologram. Most of us are living inside the projection of that hologram. When we want to change something, we try to manipulate the projection using the tools we have within it. But what if you could change the hologram itself? According to Grinberg's theory, that's what figures like Pachita, or perhaps even historical figures like Jesus Christ, were able to do. Their reported miracles, materializations, or alterations of matter weren't about breaking the laws of physics. They were about accessing the source code of the projection. The change would happen at the source, and therefore appear instantly and directly in our physical world, without any of the intermediate steps we think are necessary. This mind-bending idea led Grinberg to develop his life's work, the Syntérgic Theory. The name Syntérgic comes from combining the words synthesis and energy. The core principle is that there are no truly separate objects in the universe. Instead, everything is part of a single, incredibly complex informational field. He wasn't alone in this thinking. Some physicists refer to a similar concept as the pre-spatial field. According to the Syntérgic theory, our brain is the key. It's not just a passive receiver of information. The brain's own neural field interacts with this universal information field, and from that interaction, our perception of space, time, and solid objects is born. It's like a cosmic dance between our brain and the universe. So, how does this work? Grinberg proposed that at the most fundamental level of existence, there is a subtle, primordial structure that contains all information, all possibilities, all potential of reality. He called this structure the lattice. Think of the lattice as the ultimate foundation of everything. It's the essence of reality, present everywhere and in everything. This concept isn't entirely new. You can find echoes of it in ancient wisdom traditions all over the world. It's like the Brahman of Hinduism, the unified consciousness that underlies all of existence. It's similar to the all or great mind described by Hermes Trismegistus, or the omnipresent God of Christianity. It's also beautifully captured in Taoism. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The lattice is that nameless, formless beginning from which all things arise. Now, here's where it gets personal. Grinberg believed that each human brain generates what he called a neuronal field. From this field, a unique pattern emerges, an algorithm, if you will. And the function of this algorithm is to interact with the lattice. It selects and filters information from that infinite field to construct the reality we personally perceive. And what is this algorithm? Grinberg's shocking conclusion was that this algorithm is what we call our self, or our individual ego, our sense of being a separate person, our identity, our feeling of continuity through time. It's all a mental construct, a pattern created by our brain to make sense of the infinite information of the lattice. We are, in a sense, a unique filter for reality. Let's dive deeper into the core of Syntérgic theory. Grinberg stated that everything in the universe, absolutely everything, is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Synergy is a measure of the level of informational coherence or order within the lattice. In its purest state, the lattice has maximum synergy. It's a field of infinite potential, free from matter, gravity, and even time. But then, consciousness enters the picture. Our consciousness creates a distortion in this perfect field. This distortion is what results in the universe we perceive. Any alteration of the lattice causes a decrease in its synergy, and it's this decrease that leads to the emergence of what we call matter. So, the world we see, the emotions we feel, the thoughts we have, they are all, in essence, distortions of this fundamental space-time matrix. This brings us to a powerful conclusion. The greater the coherence between our brain, our consciousness, and this universal lattice, the more complex and powerful our perception becomes. And not just our perception, but our ability to influence reality itself. From this perspective, phenomena that we often dismiss as paranormal, like telepathy, remote healing, or even levitation are not just possible, but are natural outcomes of a highly coherent consciousness. Conversely, when our coherence is low, our perception becomes limited and simplistic. Our thoughts are chaotic, our connection to the deeper reality is weak, and our ability to influence our world is restricted. We become trapped in the surface-level projection of the hologram, forgetting our connection to the source. Grinberg's Syntérgic theory isn't some isolated, fringe idea. It resonates with several other cutting-edge scientific theories that are also trying to understand the nature of reality and consciousness. It's part of a larger conversation happening at the frontiers of science, exploring the profound mystery of who we are and the universe we inhabit. So, what does this all mean for you and me? It suggests that we are far more powerful than we believe. Our consciousness is not just a byproduct of our brain. It is a fundamental force that shapes reality. By cultivating coherence within ourselves through practices like meditation, mindfulness, and focused intention, we can potentially heighten our perception and increase our ability to influence the world around us. We can learn to interact more directly with the lattice, the source code of reality. The story of Jacobo Grinberg and Pachita is more than just a fascinating tale. It's a gateway to a new understanding of ourselves and our place in the cosmos. It challenges us to look beyond the surface of things and to consider that the reality we experience is just one layer of a much deeper, more mysterious, and more magical existence. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey into the mind of Jacobo Grinberg. If these ideas sparked your curiosity, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of consciousness and reality. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Syntérgic theory. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay curious. Did you know that some scientists believe our brains and the entire universe function like a giant hologram? This is the holographic theory. developed by neuroscientist Carl Pribram and physicist David Bohm. It suggests that, just like in a hologram, every single part contains the information of the whole. It's a mind-bending idea, isn't it? And it's not the only one. Biologist Rupert Sheldrake proposed the theory of morphic fields, suggesting that nature has a collective memory, a kind of invisible blueprint that shapes everything from a tiny crystal to a towering giraffe. Then there's biocentrism from scientist Robert Lanza, which argues that life and consciousness are not just byproducts of the universe, but are actually central to its very existence. In other words, reality is shaped by our perception of it. These theories, much like Jacobo Grinberg's syntropic theory, which we've been exploring, are all different paths leading to the same profound question: what is the true nature of reality and consciousness? It reminds me of a quote from the Rig Veda: "The truth is one, and the wise speak of it with different names." Each of these perspectives is like a different lens, offering a unique view of the ultimate essence of our existence, what some might call God. Now, let's dive back into the work of Jacobo. In the final edition of his syntropic theory, he gave a detailed explanation for the seemingly miraculous abilities of a healer named Pachita. According to Grinberg, Pachita was able to generate a neuronal field of immense power, one that was in perfect coherence with what he called the lattice. Think of the lattice as the informational blueprint, the underlying code that structures our entire reality. Grinberg explained that what we perceive as reality is actually a rapid-fire sequence of images flashing into existence and disappearing every 50 milliseconds. This creates the illusion of a smooth, continuous world. Normally, these perceptions are fleeting, like frames in a movie. But Grinberg had a radical idea. What if someone could extend the duration of a single one of these perceptions? What if they could hold it, focus on it, and anchor it into the lattice? If they could do that, they could materialize objects or even organs out of thin air. This is exactly how he believed Pachita performed her extraordinary interventions. She was manipulating the lattice, altering the very fabric of reality in a tangible way. For Grinberg, reality isn't a fixed, solid thing. It's a dynamic, continuous process of creation and destruction. And if you could master this process, as Pachita seemingly did, you could bring things that exist only in your mind into the physical world. This idea is very similar to the concept of creative visualization, where holding a clear mental image for a long time is believed to influence physical reality. Attention is obviously a key factor here, but I believe faith is just as crucial. And I don't mean faith in a specific God or religion. I mean the deep, unwavering conviction, the total absence of doubt that what you want to achieve will happen. As it is said in the Gospel of Matthew, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you shall say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it shall move, and nothing shall be impossible for you. From the perspective of Grinberg's theory, popular concepts like the law of attraction and the law of assumption suddenly make perfect sense. They aren't just wishful thinking, they are the fundamental mechanics of how reality works. So, why can't we all just manifest a new car or a perfect job on a whim? Typically, most of us operate from a very low level of coherence with the lattice. Our minds are scattered, our focus is divided, and this prevents us from having a significant conscious impact on reality. But, according to Grinberg, by raising our consciousness and increasing our coherence with the lattice, we can align ourselves with the universe. We can start to notice synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences, and begin to consciously alter our destiny. We can, in essence, learn to rewrite the code of the matrix. But how do we do it? How do we increase our coherence with the lattice to gain more influence over our reality? The first step is meditation. It's about fully immersing ourselves in the present moment, letting go of judgments and all the mental conditioning we've accumulated over a lifetime. Grinberg himself used a specific meditation to achieve this state of total coherence, which he called the auto-elusive meditation. The goal is to integrate everything you can perceive with your senses, one by one, until you connect with the whole, with the source, with your true self. Let me guide you through the steps. First, find a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down. Close your eyes and bring your focus to your breath. If thoughts or sensations come up, don't fight them. Just let them float by without getting attached, and gently guide your attention back to your breathing. Now, begin to scan your body from the very top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. Feel each part individually, and then unify that perception, observing your entire body as a single, complete unit. This helps you reconnect with your physical self from a more detached, transcendent perspective. Next, combine the feeling of your whole body with the observation of your breath. Become aware of both simultaneously. Then, gently add in the observation of your thoughts, watching them come and go like clouds in the sky. Then add your emotions, your mental images, the sounds around you, and even the patterns of light and color you see behind your closed eyelids. The key is to gradually add each layer of perception, integrating them step by step as a non-judgmental observer. By maintaining this simultaneous observation of everything, you'll eventually reach a threshold. At this point, your old ideas about who you are, your ego, begin to dissolve. You connect with something much deeper, something closer to your true essence. Once you reach that state of pure coherence, that's the moment to introduce the visualization of what you want to manifest. Combine this visualization with the law of assumption, the unwavering faith, and the feeling that your desire is already a reality. By creating coherence between your brain, your heart, and the lattice, you can reprogram reality directly from the source, potentially speeding up or even bypassing the usual steps of manifestation. Before his mysterious disappearance, Jacobo Grinberg was also developing another groundbreaking theory he called transferred potential. In his lab, he conducted experiments that demonstrated an astonishing connection between the brains of two people who had formed a bond. This bond could be created simply by meditating together or even just sitting in the same room in silent presence. What he found was that when one person was stimulating it, say, with a flash of light, the brain of the other person, who was in a completely separate, isolated room, showed the exact same brain activity at the exact same time. It was as if their brains were communicating directly without any known physical means. Grinberg was planning to take this experiment to a global scale. The next phase involved one person in Mexico and the other in India to see if this transferred potential could defy distance. But just before he was set to travel to India to conduct this test, Jacobo Grinberg vanished. It's been 30 years since his disappearance, and it has left a huge void in the scientific community. But his legacy, his brilliant work, and his profound insights continue to fascinate and inspire researchers and seekers all over the world. That's all we have for today's deep dive. I truly hope this information has been as mind-expanding for you as it was for me. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey and watching until the very end. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like and subscribe for more content like this. See you soon.